Geek Tank Radio on 98.1 The Max.
Welcome, everyone. We are the Geek Patrol, and our microphones don't have a stun setting. I'm Joe Thorderson, here with my friends Brandon Olmstead and Alan Gilbreth and Alyssa Diggs and our buddy Max over there behind the glass. And today, boy, finally, we got an Andor, a trailer for Andor Season 2.
It looks so exciting.
I don't know about you, I've watched it about 30 times, and I freeze-framed it through each, because it's literally 1 second of this, 1 second of that, but it's looking good. We're going to... And I'm going back and rewatching season 1 now. I finally signed up for Disney Plus again because I thought, well, this is worth it. I'll do it.
That and Daredevil Born Again, I think
it's coming out quick.
That'll get you a good time through your thing, and then you can cancel it again.
Right. And so I also thought maybe in fairness, because it looks like Kathleen Kennedy is retiring, and I'm going to have an unexpected...
She's already come back out. We don't even need to have that conversation.
Oh, what happened?
She's already come out, and she doesn't know where people got this idea. She's going to be in through at least the end of 2026, and then she's going to stay on with Lucasfilm.
Is she trolling them?
No, she's not the one who put out the.
It sounded like
thing.
It was okay. All right.
Well, I sent Brandon. I actually
it sounded
trolled
like it was
Brandon.
real.
Yeah,
I trolled Brandon, and it brought up a point. I think Brandon and I are going to be reinforcing over the next few weeks.
Yeah,
is how so much of social media has now made itself utterly irrelevant.
Yeah, it's like the box office.
But this seemed...
It means nothing in creativity.
Okay, but it's... Okay, anyway, but I was going to actually come to some of the defense. I don't think all of Disney Star Wars is bad. I don't throw it under the bus. Some of it's brilliant.
Well,
some of it's my favorite Star Wars.
Yeah,
so
we just got that awesome trailer for Andor Season 2.
Right.
And we wouldn't have Andor or Rogue One without Kathleen Kennedy.
One of my favorite Star Wars fight scenes came from a Kennedy legacy, from a Kennedy administration, so to say.
Yeah. So, and I'm not a huge fan. I'm going to pretend I love everything. Some of it I can't stand. But anyway, but you're saying that's a non-story.
Yeah, because she's already come back and said, it's like, while she doesn't plan on being, 100% active, she's not retiring. She's going to make movies until she dies, and she's going to stay with Lucasfilm as long as they'll have her.
Okay. Well, and then, of course, this week we lost a legend, and it was a really sad story. Gene Hackman and his wife and their dog. It sounds like, I don't think it was foul play. It sounds like there was like some sort of carbon monoxide leak or something. They're investigating.
They're waiting on toxicology, but the last time that his pacemaker showed any activity was on February 17th.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
And he was getting up there. He was in his 90s. He was up there. But he's a unique actor, and all of us have opinions, so we're going to talk about that. Before we get to any of that, though, Brandon, off the air. Okay, well, we've been very quiet for the last 3 months because as you know, we run the Memphis Comic and Fantasy Convention. It looks like we're getting very close to where we can announce the 2025 dates, but you and Allie are in charge of programming, and you had some strong opinions about what's going to be happening.
Well, we are going to be doing. All right. First of all, I want to go ahead and let everybody know that if you are a fan of MCFC or just Geek Tank and fandom in general, we opened up an MCFC Discord channel, server.
And I don't know what that is, but that's okay.
That's okay. Joe's not there, so you can have fun.
Yeah.
But in the midst of this, I put out the word to the people who are there is that we are going to be restructuring our programming. One thing we've noticed over the years, and they were really strong when we first came back from the pandemic, but they've dwindled to almost nothing, is what I like to call the trad style panel.
What is that?
That's when you got 3 or 4 guys up there and a moderator who think that they're experts on something that half the time I love our attendees and I love our panelists, but most of the time they are BSing their way through a ticket. But we've watched these panels like this slowly dwindle to the point where you might have 5 people in the beginning of it, and by the end of it, you go in to check, and not even the panelists are still in there because everybody left. So what we are going to do this year is we are going to focus on town halls and workshops and various interactive and experimental style panels. That's not to say we won't have some traditional style panels. The guys from the Beale Street Monster Club.
Oh, we love those
come
guys.
Back, their panels were awesome last year, and they were in the more traditional style. But at the same time, they were really engaging, and it was hitting on stuff that we haven't hit on at a convention here in the Mid-South in a long time.
Yeah.
like their atomic thing with dealing with Godzilla and stuff like that.
Yeah,
That was so
it was
cool.
very interesting. They had a ton of very new panels,
Right?
New panel ideas,
And they put some production behind their panel.
Oh, yeah.
That's the thing too. And I mean, full disclosure, folks. And I'm just being brutally honest because that's what we do here. Sometimes people will contact us and they'll say, "Hey, we'd like to host a panel about such and such." And the truth is, they just want a free pass to the convention. It's like we're not going to be as like just loose
the thing
with
is,
that stuff anymore.
I'm 100% on board with you volunteer your time, you're going to get into the con.
Yeah.
But what we want to do with our programming this year is that we don't want to keep retreading the same panels over and over again. We've got friends who put on, like Harry Potter panels or, Hunger Game panels or stuff like that. And even to this day, they can keep them relevant. But I want to focus on some of those members of the community who they have an amazing idea, but usually kind of get overlooked because they're not, prominent. I don't want to call con organizers cliques or elitists, but we are
sounds like you just did.
We're a very we're a very homogenized group.
Yeah.
But every once in a while, you get a guy from the outside. Like there's a young man who I'm not going to say his name here on the air, but last year he did a Super Mario Whose Line Is It Anyway?
It was incredible.
It was incredible. It was like, and there were even he was the last panel of the weekend, and people
weren't leaving. It was Sunday afternoon, and
we just let them keep going as long as they kept going. We've got things packing up. We're tearing things down and throwing out trash, and we go by every once in a while, and there's still a ton of people in there just having a blast.
Right.
So I want to focus more on that kind of stuff. Now, I'm not saying everybody needs to do something super interactive, but I really want to see a lot of new and experimental type stuff, and that's what I'm going to focus on.
Okay.
It's not that I'm not going to approve you if you go, hey, I want to talk about Frank Welker's contributions to animation and voiceover work, because Frank Welker is an amazing, individual. But find a way to make it interactive. Get everybody jazzed about it.
That's the thing. The town hall works because everybody's participating, and and it's funny that 55 minutes flies by when you do that. So if you've got an idea for a panel or a workshop, get in touch with us at memphiscfc@gmail.com. All right, you guys, when we come back, we're going to talk about Andor Season 2.
You're listening to Geek Tank Radio on 98.1 The Max. Their superpower is watching TV and arguing about it. The Geek Patrol is back.
And welcome back to Geek Tank Radio, everybody. I'm Joe Thorderson, here with my friends Brandon Olmstead and Alan Gilbreth and Alyssa Diggs and our buddy Max over there behind the glass. And if you're just tuning in, we were sort of updating you. Probably within the next week or 2 weeks, we should be able to announce the new dates for the Memphis Comic and Fantasy Convention. And if you're new to that, it's always around the middle of November, typically, the second or third week. So expect something like that coming up. We always have to wait for our dates when we're over here at the Holiday Inn. That's
we got to work everything out with the Tiger Athletics and the football schedule.
We share the hotel with them, so we can't schedule it the week of a football game. That's as simple as that. But before the break, we kind of ran out of time. But you and Alyssa run the programming department, and you're going to be a little more selective about the panels and workshops.
Yeah, we want something. We want something that's going to blow our minds.
Yeah.
But I also want to take a moment to give a shout out to Allie Gossett, our social media director.
Yeah,
she put together a Discord server for us, and she's been putting it together bit by bit. But it's like all inclusive. We've got our stuff in the programming, so you can bounce ideas off other people. We've got stuff that goes above and beyond what our gaming usually is. But I think we're gonna talk with Jeff about fleshing that a little more. But it's a really fun community. I hate Discord. I'm just gonna be honest. I've always hated Discord. I've been on this thing for the past 3 or 4 days, and it's been a blast.
Do I need to download the app? I don't know anything about Discord, am I going to be too horrified if I go?
We'll get you set up.
Okay.
It's fun. I enjoy Discords a lot, but I've been in a lot since the pandemic now, so I'm pretty well acquainted with how they work.
Okay. All right. And that is one of the things I love about conventions. It's like some people might think, well, there's this group of people and they decide what's going to happen and they put together everything. Really, all we do, we're almost like conductors. It's like a convention is like 100 or 200 different events, Each panel is different. Each vendor booth is different, and so we're just basically putting it in place. And so, but our job is to put the best panels, the best vendors, everybody in place so that people can enjoy it. But okay, hey, but let's switch gears. So Andor season 2, they finally dropped a trailer, which I'm glad they waited this long. I mean, the typical thing would have been to drop it 6 months ago. And then edit out half of what's in there. Yeah. Well, what are your thoughts? Because I mean, my feeling. The first season was a masterpiece in my opinion.
Well, I had a few nitpicks about season 1, and that's usually because the middle episode in an arc seemed like it had a big chunk of filler.
It was four. It was 12 episodes, so there was three episode arcs, you could say. Yeah, that was fair.
But what they're doing this year, it's still going to be 4 arcs, 3 episodes per arc, but each arc covers a year between the end of season 1 and Rogue One.
Wait a minute. Hold on.
This season is going to span 4 years.
How do you know that? I guess
because they announced that.
I wish they'd quit doing that stuff.
Why would you? Why that doesn't hurt anything? It gets
me thinking about stuff.
You are getting 4 feature-length films that basically take place at important events each year, leading from the end of season 1 to just before Rogue One starts. Which is why you saw Andor in 4 different hairstyles and everything.
Right. It looks cool though. I mean, but
it's gonna be great.
But I mean, I hate to give predictions, but I guess
I think it's gonna be a lot tighter this time around.
What do you mean? So they're not gonna?
I don't think it's gonna be as much filler as we get, because we had those 4 different arcs. Imprisonment, Rebellion. I can't even remember the arc names of the first 2 because it's been so long since I've watched it. I've got to go back and watch it all before season 2 drops.
Yeah.
But with it actually being, these 3 episodes are this year, these 3 episodes are that year, I think we're going to get a lot more, I just structure to it, not as much filler. It's just going to be a tighter storyline for each arc.
So you're saying how many years are we gonna lose? Because I'm just thinking of what's going on in the rest of the galaxy. So we're seeing Luke Skywalker start off in Andor as what he would have been 12 or 13 or something, and because Rogue One ends right before they steal all the
Rogue One's where they steal the plans, and so Luke will be about 17 at the end of Rogue One. So
I didn't see one lightsaber in this.
No,
I didn't,
and we shouldn't.
Interesting.
No, I wonder if we'll see the Emperor though.
I doubt it.
Or part of them. I kind of want to. I want to see something.
I'd rather them focus on the Imperials that they set up in season 1 and see how their arcs go. I mean, what's really bad about it is that there are points in that in Andor where you realize that some of these Imperials are just people who are they're just caught up in your typical government thing, which is very meta.
Yeah.
I was going to say, to me, I've really enjoyed it when the Star Wars stories, these more modern ones that we've been getting, are tie less into the main story. Less trying to fit
fewer
it
Jedi.
Yeah, the more they try to fit it into the other big stories, I feel like it muddies the waters. I like it when it's just this little slice of life in another part of the galaxy that we didn't get to know about before.
Right.
And they dash in their legendary characters, let's just say, very judiciously. For example, Star Wars Rebels did it very well, where it's oh, look, a little bit of Obi-Wan, and oh, look, a little bit of Vader. But it's it's not enough to where it becomes the Vader hour or the Kenobi story. And I think, having, people like Mon Mothma and everything show up just here and there, it lets you know you're in this universe. Yeah. But we're watching, because if you look at that trailer, we've watched it. How many times do you think you've watched it at this point, Joe?
Oh, 30. Because I said, I would go back, I freeze framed it, and I went through that dancing scene. I'm guessing that's the daughter's wedding or something.
It's got to be. It's got to be something along those lines. And that's also the reason why we see Andor with the pompadour and the dress coat.
Right. And I mean, this isn't a spoiler. You can watch this but I did see, it looks like that wedding is getting disrupted because somebody's holding a gun to Mon Mothma or something. But
what I like about this, though, is that it also zooms in on the price and the dirt of a rebellion. It's she's literally draining her finances, and it's kind of harkens back to our own revolution. the fact that like a lot of founding fathers lost a lot of their money. They slept in caves and lost their families.
Yeah, and not everybody's squeaky clean. We'll have a few parting thoughts about that, and then we're going to talk, give a salute to Gene Hackman.
You're listening to Geek Tank Radio on 98.1 The Max. The Geek Patrol is back.
Use your aggressive feelings, boy. Let the heat flow through you.
And welcome back to Geek Tank Radio, everybody. I'm Joe Thorderson here with my friends Brandon Olmsted and Alan Gilbreth and Alyssa Diggs and our buddy Max over there behind the glass. And shifting gears, we've been talking about Star Wars. I mistakenly said that it looks like Kathleen Kennedy is retiring, and you said, okay, no, she's not. Yeah. I do think she's trolling people. There are people on the internet that were just like, they were so excited that she was finally retiring, right, and you're saying, but she's not.
But that's the thing, she wasn't. They assumed she was by other reports and immediately got all sorts of, ooh, giddy. I'm sorry, guys. If you're giddy about someone retiring, you weren't really a fan.
I don't know. I mean, I'm not pretending I like all of her work, but I will at least defend. You know, I'm not one of those that'll just say blanket Star Wars, Disney Star Wars is bad. I like a lot of Disney Star Wars. But anyway.
Here's the thing. Even the bad Disney Star Wars is better than 90% of the stuff that hits theaters.
Okay, there
just
you go.
Saying.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, but shifting gears, wow, this was a sad story. So it seems as though I don't think there was foul play. I think it was just a tragic accident. But Gene Hackman and his wife, Becky? It's Becky, I believe. Anyway, gosh, I'm sorry.
I honestly can't pronounce her last name, and that's my failed education.
Right, and their dog. So it looks like it was some sort of gas leak, carbon monoxide.
Yeah, it's Betsy Arakawa.
She's Japanese.
Okay.
Yeah.
And just really sad. It's a very sad story. Yeah. And but they lived in New Mexico, Santa Fe, New Mexico. And but anyway, it seems like, I mean, Gene Hackman is one of those actors that he is non-traditional. I mean, he's a leading man. He's 100% got leading man qualities, but you can't put him in a box. The guy can do gritty dramas. He could do action movies. He could do comedy. And
he's from a time when actors, they were entertainers. They were full blown. They could have done anything. Which, you know, I love the golden age of cinema, because your actors could be in an amazing dramatic role 1 minute, and then the next thing you come across on AMC, they're playing a bit part in a slasher movie.
Yeah.
Because, you know, you worked for the studios, and what they brought to you did.
And what
I'm sorry, I'm going to throw in, since you said slasher movie, when you looked up while watching Young Frankenstein and realized that was Gene Hackman.
Well, you know,
setting Frankenstein's thumb on fire as the crazy blind guy.
There you go.
And this is after things like The French Connection, where I believe I think we can all safely say the gold standard car chase.
Oh, that's what everybody talks about when they talk about a car chase. So,
but then,
or the Blues Brothers.
You look at other movies where, I don't know, he was a secondary for one of my favorite football movies. Yes, I like a football movie. The Replacements with Keanu Reeves.
I love how you think of him as a secondary, but let's be honest, Keanu's the secondary in that movie.
I said that on purpose, looking right at Brandon, going, "All right,
like,
there's the bait. Let's see him hit."
That's like bringing up Necessary Roughness and saying Hector Elizondo was a cameo.
Well, but the ease at which these characters handed the ball back and forth, literally the audience's attention, was amazing. And I totally agree that the golden age was, you could watch The Firm, and he was a dangerous character in The Firm, or you watch The Birdcage, and you're going, how did you get Gene Hackman in this movie?
Yep.
One thing that I also kind of like about actors like Gene Hackman is, in terms of his appearance, he's just a guy. He's not like all the actors and actresses these days that all have a trainer or are really physically fit and handsome, or, you know, like a beautiful. He's just sort of like a guy, but he also has like a great deal of talent and charisma to him. Kind of like a John Belushi. He's like, he knows how to carry his weight well.
Yeah.
Max, you're absolutely right. I mean, there's something about Gene Hackman is almost like the everyman until you see what the role is, at which point he becomes that character.
I'm just wondering if there's any people like that in Hollywood these days, or if Hollywood has kind of become too polished, and maybe you need to kind of unpolish Hollywood.
You make a dang good point on that, because there's a reason why, despite these characters who are supposed to be under helmets and masks and everything else, we constantly have to see Chris Evans' face or Robert Downey Jr.'s face, or I mean, that's one of the things I loved about the Batman, is that when he was the Batman, Pattinson kept the cowl on. You never saw him running around going, "Look, I'm the pretty guy from Twilight, but I'm emo now." Well, he was kind of emo then too. But.
Yeah, because Spider-Man, like, he's always taking his mask off. Why are you taking your mask off in the middle of a battle?
I honestly think that's one of the reasons why in The Mandalorian they made it an imperative part of the character that he doesn't take the helmet off.
Yeah. Yep. But
I do want to touch base though on another loss that we had this past week.
Okay.
And that's Michelle Trachtenberg. She was she's young kid. She had just had a liver transplant or something, and I guess complications from that, and she passed. A lot of people know her from Pete and Pete or Harriet the Spy. She had a good run on both Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Gossip Girl.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah,
I was like, I know her from Gossip Girl.
And I mean, she was another one of those. She was one of those people that you recognized her when you saw her, but depending on what role she was playing, whether it was Dawn in Buffy or as one of the twins in Eurotrip or on Gossip Girl, she embodied her characters. Because you would look at her like on Gossip Girl and go, "I can't believe that's Harriet the Spy."
Yeah. I had no idea she was in Buffy until she died, because I had never seen that, but I had seen Gossip Girl, and I'm shocked she was in so many things, to be honest, because she plays her characters so well.
Yeah, and I mean, to lose both a classic legendary actor and then one who has had such a touch on geekdom, but still seemed like she had so much of a career left ahead of her.
So just had an illness, huh?
I'm just gonna say it. February sucks.
Yeah. I mean, didn't we start the month with the fires and everything?
Yeah.
Or are they? I guess they were wrapping up. But yeah, it's been rough. But the other thing is, take care of have carbon monoxide detectors at your home.
Absolutely.
Let's face it. Home safety is important.
Thanks for trashing my birth month. Just letting you know.
Look. Hey.
Mine too, Alan.
Hey.
Not been great.
Hey, they unleashed you on society. I think we can talk about
this.
Hey, they released Captain America 4 for your birthday. That's something, right?
And yet another tragedy you have to bring up.
All right, we'll be right back here on Geek Tank Radio.
You're listening to Geek Tank Radio on 98.1 The Max. The Geek Patrol is back.
Hey, we've done heroic things too.
Yeah, in the third season, I kissed Shatner.
And welcome back to Geek Tank Radio, everybody. I'm Joe Thorderson here with my friends Brandon Olmstead and Alan Gilbreth and Alyssa Diggs and our buddy Max over there behind the glass. And it's been kind of a wide-ranging set of topics, some sad news, some exciting news, and Max has an anniversary that he didn't warn us about, but it sounded intriguing, so what do you got?
And now, a legend in geekdom.
All right, you just wanted to push that button.
To quote the Rocky Horror Picture Show, whatever happened to Fay Ray? No one. Well, let's talk about.
I know what the audience yelled out.
Yeah,
exactly, but we can't say it on the air.
Okay.
But anyways, I want to wish a very happy anniversary to the original King Kong back in 1933. Has much more of an influence that you might think, not only on Rocky Horror, but on just it's one of the first films to feature an animated character, like with live people in the background too.
Okay. Was King Kong a novel first, or is this it? Is this the birthplace of King Kong? Because I'm wondering where that story came from, or if they just cooked this up.
You had gorilla stories. Well, you did. You had gorilla stories.
Genre.
You actually did, because they were really only discovered 1880, 1890. They were a cryptid. They were the Bigfoot of Africa.
Well, let's face it. If you wandered in the jungle with some silverbacks, you weren't coming out. Yeah.
I mean, the gorilla was kind of a big thing of Mighty Joe Young and other critters. The biggest thing here is this movie. Movies were already using matte painting, aka painting on glass and that kind of stuff to get your backgrounds, which was used all the way up to Star Wars.
Oh, because light can come through it.
And you could create any background you wanted. This is all before computers and all that stuff. Of course, King Kong was wireframe dummy covered in rabbit fur, and he was stop motion animation. They were also using rear projection, which was another weird idea.
Wait, they were shooting like they would project something behind King Kong, so it looks like he's in it.
Like you're running through the jungle, so they had a few plants on the set, and then the set behind you was a rear projection of the jungle.
Like the Flintstones, the way it looked like a conveyor
more like
belt.
You would be appearing in front of the screen at the movie theater.
Yeah, no, I get
But
it.
it created an illusion. And they also used a forced perspective for was it big or was it little?
Right.
And this movie actually combined all of the above and gave you a crazy adventure. And it was also a fourth wall meta breaker because it was a movie about making a movie.
Oh, right. Okay, I was wondering how you meant, what you meant by that.
And you know what's kind of cool? It was worth its weight in gold because its budget was $672,000 and it made about $10 million.
I mean,
for its time.
That sounds expensive for the 30s. Holy smokes! I wonder what that is in today's money.
And with the Great Depression going on, it's like I guess the world needed a monkey movie.
Well, it was part of a lot of entertainment escapism. So Hollywood was working on escapism so that people would forget life was terrible and you could go see something crazy. And dinosaurs were a hot thing. They were, you got to remember, I mean, this is 1933.
Yeah.
Prohibition just ended.
Yeah.
You still had all the crazy gangsters and the Al Capone era and all. So, here comes 1933 and some guy's going to give you a 40-foot tall monkey.
Yeah, I just love the title from West Germany.
Which
was King Kong und die weiße Frau, which basically says King Kong and the White Lady.
Oh, that's what it is?
Yeah.
Okay, so Fay Ray, yeah. Well, what's interesting, though, is this movie made a bunch of money, but how many, the bigger thing is how much influence did it have over the future of movie making? Because, I mean, you can trace Star Wars and stuff back to some of these techniques.
I mean, we already have Kong versus Godzilla versus everything else in the world, and it all started with a Brontosaurus.
We're trying to talk about the positive effects.
We're not going to hold the digital version against the 3-foot tall guy covered in rabbit fur.
No.
Yeah.
Because the digital version looks fake.
Yeah. But stop motion, I don't know, man. Is how that started its whole genre.
Well, one of the greatest mistakes in that movie was one of its strongest parts in the fact that they forgot to they were trying to shoot so many scenes that they forgot to brush out the rabbit fur after moving Kong. So you actually got a very incredible digital effect of the fur moving as Kong moved. And it was just basically mistakes where their fingerprints were still left in the rabbit fur after moving the dummy.
That's what that is.
So the fur actually moved and it looked so cool.
It was an accident.
That was an accident.
Alan was there for that. That's his thumb.
I really wish. And of course, it was one of the first movies to have a giant prop.
Well, the hand, right?
The hand of King Kong was.
I feel like I saw that original puppet, and it's like, 12 inches tall or something. I mean, it's
he's
tiny.
18 inches tall.
Okay, at 8. I mean, that's nothing. It's like.
Yeah, but Allie, how would you have liked to have been in that scene when 12 guys on a crane are going to swing a giant hand at you?
Yeah.
I think it would have been pretty fun.
And hope they stop.
Scary for sure, yeah. Because what if they didn't stop in time and I got crushed?
That's what I love about you. You're always up for anything.
Yeah, it would have been fun.
There was OSHA on these films.
I don't think Allie would have been screaming in terror.
My dad put me in an indie film when I was 10.
But I know the people your dad knows, and that's.
I was out in the middle of nowhere in 20-degree weather.
You were safe.
Rabid Christmas trees. It was a wild time.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Then of course it makes me think of Peter Jackson. He made that whole that big movie back in the.
Oh yeah. There's
with one of the greatest lines ever by Jack Black. He said, "You can trust me. I'm a Hollywood producer."
Yes. The importance of this movie cannot be overstated.
All right. Well, happy anniversary, King Kong. But you guys, the show's over. It's time to get out of here. So like the hand of a gorilla slapping it shut, it's gone. So until next week, we are the Geek Patrol, and I am Joe Thorderson.
I'm Alan Gilbreth.
I'm Maximilian.
I'm Melissa Diggs.
And I am Brandon Olmstead, challenging you to make yourself heard. Go join the Discord.